think my head's cut off. There we go. Am I live? All right. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. Happy Thursday. I am Brenda Bennett, aka Sugar Free Mom. That is my website, and I am also a nutrition coach and a life coach, and I am the creator of sugarfreemom.com free recipes. And this week we are making my cinnamon raisin cottage cheese bagel recipe. Actually, I gotta turn the oven on, 350. Turn your oven on, 350 degrees. We are going to make these delicious bagels. I have a silicone donut pan, the regular standard size. We're gonna make 4 bagels. You can make them with or without the raisins. You could use, I'm going to use a small box. These are optional. If you're strict keto and you are doing 20 carbs a day and you don't want to add the bagels, just make them cinnamon bagels. But 1 box divided by 4. I have all the nutrition info. I can look it up on my phone. I have all the nutrition info for you on the website under the printable recipe card. And I will tell you, where did it go? Cinnamon raisin bagels. I'm gonna have to look it up. But basically, it's still very low in carb. But like I said, if you're strict keto and you don't want to do raisins, you don't have to. The other option is to do some no sugar added cranberries, and that would work as well. Or like I said, you could just leave them out. Cottage cheese bagels. I'm using my search bar on my website. The first one that comes up is the cinnamon raisin bagels. And so for the ingredients today, we are making 4 bagels. They're going to cook for about 20 minutes at a 350 degree preheated oven. I'm using lactose-free cottage cheese. You can use any cottage cheese that you like. And then we're using eggs, well, 1 egg, and then we need egg whites. And my husband just went to the store and I forgot to tell him to buy me a carton of egg whites, but that is my life. That's what I do. So I'm going to have to crack them to get the whites needed. We're also going to be using whey protein, and it's unflavored, and I'm also going to be using collagen, and I'm also going to be using a little bit of coconut flour. Why? Because all of these have a purpose. I've made this recipe and tested it many times, and I wanted that chew factor, and this is what provides that. If you don't have the collagen, you could just swap it with more whey, but I wouldn't leave out the whey or the coconut flour if you want a really chewy, delicious bagel. Hi, Cherie from Wisconsin. And so I also wanted to announce to you that this recipe is one of the recipes that is in my new Midlife Macro Meal Plans that is coming out tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to anyone who has registered. The links are below. The first link, it's brand new. I had another meal plan service that I was using and it wasn't working out. So I decided to do it in-house and do it on my own. And so this is brand new and releases tomorrow morning at 6. It is a monthly subscription, so every Friday you will get a new meal plan with a shopping list, and this is one of the recipes that you would enjoy. And so I figured why not make it for you today? I'm very excited about it. So we are going to, typically I use the food processor for this, but I'm just going to use a large bowl, and I'm just going to add all the ingredients to the bowl. And if you are watching this, so I'm doing this live on Facebook, but I'm also putting it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. If you are watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate that. And each week when I share my weekly meal plan via email, for those of you who are not sure what I'm talking about, what is Midlife Macros? It is the method that I use because in 2024, perimenopause hit when I was writing my new book, Good, Better, Best. And I was in the midst of a struggle. I was gaining weight on classic keto, doing nothing different, intermittent fasting, working out with my trainer, walking the dogs, ending my eating at 2 p.m. some days and still gaining weight, doing nothing different. And it was super frustrating, especially as a coach. And I forgot my microphone today, all. I'm sorry about that. So hopefully you can hear me fine. And it was so frustrating, especially because I was writing the new book and I felt like something was wrong, and I didn't realize perimenopause, with the fluctuating hormones was the problem. And so we're adding 1 egg to the bowl. And I had to do the research, and that's what I did for my new book. I simply decided, well, I'm going to research what's going on. And I found that women in perimenopause and menopause going through these fluctuating hormonal cycles need a different approach. And the high fat wasn't working anymore. So I created, I have 2 meal plans in my book. Here it is. 2 meal plans in my book. The first one is the minimal time meal plan, and that is exactly Midlife Macro Method. Even though I don't say it in the book, this was what I did. 6 days a week of a deficit with moderating the fat, not low fat, not protein sparing modified fast, calorie deficit, and lower carb. Not so low, but you can always add anything to the meal plan to suit your needs. But it was the start of the Midlife Macro Method that I'm really, really proud of. So I have 1 egg here, and now I got to do a 1/2 cup of egg whites. I'm going to crack them in this bowl because I don't have a carton. I would say just get a carton of egg whites. That would be much easier. And my husband said, save the yolks. So that's what I'm going to do. Save the yolks for him and put the egg whites in here. Whoops, wait a minute. I needed to measure it. Darn it. All right, hold on. I'll figure this out. Anyway, it's so much more work. But that's all right. And try to get, if you have chickens like I do, try to get average sized eggs so that you are not, so I'm going to save the yolks in here for him. And then we're going to go back and we're going to measure out because I forgot to, there we go. So that was 1 egg. Let's see how many of these make a 1/2 cup. So basically, I have some large chicken eggs and I also have some small chicken eggs. So you definitely just want to measure it out for a 1/2 cup of egg whites. And why am I doing a breakfast recipe? Because I think the hardest struggle for many women is not having a plan for the first meal of your day. I don't care if it's breakfast or lunch. If you don't have something that you know has some protein and is going to satiate you, you're going to eat crap. You're going to go through the drive-thru. You're going to just decide, well, forget it. I'm not going to eat. And then you're ravenous later on in the day. And it doesn't help at all if you're working on weight loss or trying to maintain your weight. And so having something where you can put, deli ham or turkey in or on the bagels on the side, grab it to go. It's a start, right? So for the nutrition info, 1 bagel has just 81 calories, 3 total carbs, and 13 grams of protein. And that means it's not enough protein. You really want to try to hit at least 30 grams of protein within your first meal of the day. So now I really need, this is not quite a 1/2 cup of egg whites. So I'm going to do just a little bit more, but maybe not the whole thing, maybe half of the egg for the whites to equal what I need for this recipe. Oh, it's perfect. It was 1 more egg. It was a small egg. Okay, so my yolks are saved for my hubby. And now these egg whites are going in the bowl. There we go. All right. So now to the egg whites, we are going to add, let me look at my recipe, 1/3 cup of whey protein powder. I gotta find my measuring cup. That's 1/4. Actually, I got one of these as 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, or 1/3. I can't see it. There we go. That's 1/3. All right, so I used Ali Miller's Naturally Nourished Whey Protect. Why? Because it's superior to all other protein powders whey protein powders on the market. It is third-party tested. It is doesn't have any lead in it like some of the other protein powders that you've seen around. And I'm confident in it, especially good now with our season for immune support. You want those immune globulins in here to support yourself during the season of cold and flu. Also, 1 tablespoon of collagen. I use collagen in my coffee. It's great for your hair, skin, for your joints. 1 tablespoon. I'm not using the scoop in there. I'm just going to grab a tablespoon. This is going to help also with the chew factor. And that's what you want in a bagel. Am I right? Yes. All right, 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. People ask me all the time, can I swap coconut flour with almond flour? No, they don't swap evenly. You cannot do that. 2 tablespoons of coconut flour would probably be about 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. So I would just say you're not going to taste the coconut flour. I promise you, just try it with the coconut flour. All right. A 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. This is Xanthan. Baking powder, and then also baking soda. 1/4 teaspoon of each. Why? Because we want the rise, and it needs both. Because one works in the kitchen, in the oven, while the other sets you up so it doesn't deflate. So I use both. All right, so next we're going to do a pinch of salt. I use Redmond sea salt. Then we're going to do a sweetener because these are cinnamon raisin bagels. So I am using Wholesome Yum Bestie. This is monk fruit and allulose. And I'm doing 3 tablespoons because I'm also adding a little stevia. I like vanilla stevia, and so then I'm using both because I simply feel like if it's a cinnamon raisin bagel, it should be sweet. Could you leave it out? Of course, you could, but I feel like it needs it. All right, what did I say? Oh yeah, vanilla stevia, just like a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm just gonna put a few drops. And then we're gonna add some cinnamon, of course. We need 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla extract. All right. I'm not measuring out the cinnamon. I'm just putting it in. Whoop, there we go. And then a little bit of vanilla extract. All right, we're gonna mix this up and we'll be good to go. Like I said, it would have been easier to just do it in the food processor, but I didn't feel like taking it out. It's been very busy for me the last few days. I was in Maine, beautiful York, Maine. Have you been? I was at the Stage Neck Inn. It's gorgeous there. My husband and I went for a wedding, I believe it was in the summer, and fell in love with it, right on the water. Anyway, I was there for a business retreat for a couple of days with other women business entrepreneurs, and it was just a really great reset where we could focus on our year and what's ahead and really getting challenged to, pursue more, to serve more. And I always feel like when you go away, when it's not, when it's just really for you, it's like a reset. And that way I can, I fill my cup and then I can help more women and serve better. I was teaching last night. I coach in my tribe community, my small tribe community, every Wednesday night. And we were talking about, because we had just finished the Fresh Start course, which is my 6-week foundational course. And I was talking about how do you keep the momentum going when you've had success and you've lost weight. And one of the things that the research I did for the new book was the studies that I found for people that lose weight and keep it off successfully. They monitor their progress regularly. They have a higher protein diet. They have lower carbs. They're out, not eating refined carbs and sugar. They are having physical activity, and they are in a community of support of like-minded people. And that's how people keep the weight off. And that's what I try to do in my small group coaching, is to keep that community going for women who identify as people who are, emotional eaters. And so if you're interested in that, you can go to sugarfreemomtribe.com. Oh, also I'm having a sale, early Black Friday sale. All of my courses, my End the Impulse Eating, Tame the Toddler Brain, the Fresh Start course, and the Midlife Macro Method, all of them are 25% off starting today. You just have to use code Black Friday 25 and you can get any of my courses. They're all self-paced. Or you could even join the tribe for a month. Next week, I'm going to be coaching on combating the holiday cravings and how to really feel successful even when you want to have these particular things during the holidays, maybe Aunt Sally's apple pie and all the things. How do you stay on track? What do you do before the meal and after the meal to balance your blood sugar? So that's next week. So I'd love for you to join us. That is also the first month of the tribe is also 25% off with the code. And go to sugarfreemomtribe.com. All right, so I'm actually going to just use a half a box. Maybe I'll use the whole box. Maybe my daughter will have some of these, and I'll add some to the top of the. Whoops! I dropped one. Wait a minute! Don't let the dog have it. Woo! I threw it in the sink. We don't want the dog to eat the grapes. I mean, the old raisins are shriveled grapes, and that's bad. That's bad for the dogs. No good. All right, so now, obviously, if I was using the food processor, you wouldn't see any lumps of the cottage cheese, but I have made these enough to know that even though you see it, it's not going to bake that way. And so it really doesn't matter if you use a food processor or you just whisk, as I have done. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reuse my spoon that I used for the cottage cheese, and we're going to try our best to evenly put it into this pan. There we go. We're just going to try to fill it up all around. I have a video for this. I posted it a little while ago this morning, and it's delicious, and it really fulfills. If you're missing bagels, it really does fulfill that craving. You stuff it, you bake them, you toast it, you stuff it with cream cheese. It's absolutely satisfying. So I hope you make these and you try them. If it's just you at home and no one else is eating them, you'll have 4 days worth of a delicious breakfast. Now, like I said, there's only 13 grams of protein, so hello, you got to increase that. Add an egg or two. Hard boil some eggs. Help yourself with meal planning that way. Hard boil a dozen eggs, and then you can add that, anytime you need more protein in your day. The studies that I found, and that's what I shared in my new book, Good, Better, Best, you gotta front load that protein earlier in the day, especially if you're the type of person who's like, wow, I thought I ate enough protein, but after dinner you're rummaging through the cupboards. That's why your protein needs have not been met, and front loading the protein earlier in the day will do that. One of the other meal plans I have in Good, Better, Best is eating more of your calories earlier in the day, because women who are fighting, declining hormones, you're going to store fat even eating the same meal that you would have had earlier in the day, meaning before 4 p.m., you're going to store fat even if it was the same meal and you're eating it at 7 p.m. Why? Because when you're in perimenopause, menopause, or beyond, your hormones have declined. And that is the thing, those are the things that are regulating your metabolism. So, how do you combat that? You front load protein earlier in the day, or you end eating earlier, you have your bigger meal earlier in the day as opposed to evening. Obviously, it's a balance, right? If you're going out to dinner, special occasion, and you're eating at night, don't worry about it. But otherwise, try most days to end before 5 and see how it goes and see if it helps you. My Midlife Macro Meal Plan, I'm adding the rest of this box to the top of these. My Midlife Macro Meal Plan is meant for women for a fat loss. Now, can you use my meal plans if you're maintaining your weight and you just want to reduce belly fat or inflammation? Absolutely. You wouldn't eat the low deficit calories, you would increase it to your maintenance calories, and that's totally doable. And I hope that you register for it and try it. I'm going to add some cranberries too, just because I want to. And these are going to bake for 20 minutes at 350 degrees. And now you have a delicious breakfast ready to go, or lunch. Like I said, it's only 13 grams of protein, so add an egg, or get some, deli ham or deli turkey or deli chicken or some bacon, and increase the protein that way. Hard boil some eggs. And that is it. Now I have to clean up. So if you have any questions, please drop them below. If you are interested in the Midlife Macro Meal Plan, just comment plan below, and I will, I would love to see you inside the tribe membership if you want to join us next week for the Holiday Combat Cravings class. It's 25% off, Black Friday 25. That is it, my friends. I hope you have an awesome day. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Thank you all for the love. Have an awesome day. Bye.